On tap there are 5 series opening Stanley Cup playoff games Thursday. New Jersey Devils at Tampa Bay Lightning, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. NHLN, SN, TVAS2, Sun, MSG. Lightning forward Steven Stamkos, who missed the final 3 games of the regular with a lower body injury, will play in Game 1 of this Eastern Conference first-round series. The Devils named Keith Kinkaid their starting goalie for the opener. New Jersey, which finished last in the Eastern Conference in 2016-17, had a franchise record 27-point improvement in the standings. The charge was led by MVP candidate Taylor Hall, who had 93 points, 39 goals, 54 assists, his best NHL. Toronto Maple Leafs at Boston Bruins, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. NBCSN, CBC, TVAS, NESN. The Bruins and Maple Leafs face each other for the first time in the Stanley Cup playoffs since their epic 7-game battle in the 2013 Eastern Conference quarterfinals. The Bruins won Game 7 of that series when they came back from 3 goals down in the third period, the first team in playoff history to do so in a Game 7. Forward Rick Nash, who missed the final 12 games of the regular with a concussion, is expected to play for the Bruins in Game 1 of this Eastern Conference first-round series. Center Riley Nash ear laceration will not. Columbus Blue Jackets at Washington Capitals, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. USA, SN 360, TVAS 3, NBCSWA, FSO. The Capitals and Blue Jackets each will be led into Game 1 of this Eastern Conference first-round series by a Russia-born star forward. Washington's Alex Ovechkin scored a league-high 49 goals to win his 7th Rocket Richard Trophy, and Artemi Panarin set Columbus records for assists, 55 and points, 82. The Blue Jackets had points in 15 of their final 17 regular season games. The 2nd of February, 13, 28 points. Goaltender Philip Grubauer will start for the Capitals. Colorado Avalanche at Nashville Predators, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. NBCSN, SN, TVAS, FSTN. Alt. The Predators know the Avalanche will be dangerous in Game 1 of the Western Conference first round. Colorado may have been the last team to claim a playoff berth, and the Predators won the President's Trophy with a team record 115 points, but the Predators were the last team to qualify for the 2017 playoffs and upset the Chicago Blackhawks, the top seed in the West, on the way to a place in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time. Nashville lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. San Jose Sharks at Anaheim Ducks, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. USA, SN 360, TVAS 2, Prime, NBCSCA. This Western Conference first round marks the second playoff matchup between these California rivals. The first was a 2009 Western Conference quarterfinal series, when the 8th-seeded Ducks defeated the favored Sharks in 6 games. Anaheim goaltender John Gibson, who missed the final 3 games of the regular with an upper body injury, is expected to start Game 1. San Jose center Joe Thornton, who has missed 35 games with a knee injury, won't play in Game 1, but could return later in the best-of-7 series. What we learned. Here are some things we learned on Day 1 of the playoffs. Penguins are hungry for more. The Penguins clearly aren't satisfied with back-to-back Stanley Cup titles. They want a third. They came out looking to make a statement in Game 1 against the Flyers, and they did it with a 7-0 win. The Penguins did everything right, including holding the Flyers to 0 shots on goal on each of their 2 power play opportunities. Pittsburgh got contributions from throughout the lineup. It had 12 skaters with at least 1 point, including Sidney Crosby's natural hat-trick and a team-high 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists for Jake Guentzel. Matt Murray made 24 saves for his 3rd consecutive shutout in the Stanley Cup playoffs, dating to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final last year. His active playoff shutout streak of 206-26 is a Penguins record. Video, Crosby notches hat-trick, Pens rout Flyers in Game 1. Flyers can't feed the Penguins. They knew it going into the series, but the Flyers got a first-hand understanding of what happens when you are careless with the puck, poor in your defensive positioning and lack discipline against the Penguins. Whether it was them not clearing out rebounds, turning over pucks in the offensive zone, backing up on defense when they should be attacking, or going to the penalty box too often 4 times, the Flyers didn't do much to help their own cause in Game 1. They must be more detailed, more careful, more disciplined and more confident in Game 2, or the Penguins could skate them out of the building again. Wild can play with Jets though. Walt had a lot of push in Game 1, taking a 2-1 lead with 2 goals in the first 3:58 of the third period before the Jets rallied for a 3-2 win. Their physical play was at least as strong as Winnipeg's and, perhaps, exceeded it. Even though they lost Game 1, their play was a good sign for what promises to be a Central Division playoff matchup of contact. Jets can win a playoff game. There will be no more questions about the franchise's playoff resume. Winnipeg had 8 players in Game 1 who had never been in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and now they can focus more on the job at hand in the series and less on their lack of experience. Patrick Lane, who was one of those playing his first postseason game, scored a key goal in the third period to tie the game 2-2. Video, minute WPG, GM1. Lane snipes wrister past Dubnyk. Golden Knights will not be intimidated. Vegas is fast. Los Angeles is physical. The thought coming into the series was that the Golden Knights had to play their style and not get drawn into the Kings, and that is still the thought. But in their 1-0 win in Game 1, the Golden Knights did not back down when things got chippy and stayed disciplined, other than a boarding penalty by forward Tomas Nosek. Video, Lackett v GK, GM1. Theodore Nett's first Vegas playoff goal. Kings have little margin for error. The Kings were the best defensive team in the regular. They have an excellent goaltender in Jonathan Quick. But they're playing one of the best defensive teams in the regular, and the Golden Knights might be one of the few teams with the edge in goal with Marc-Andre Fleury. The Kings limited the Golden Knights to 1 goal, but it was not enough. Forward Dustin Brown and center Ans Kopitar had open nets but failed to bury their chances. Facts and figures. Some numbers from the opening night of the playoffs. Asterisk. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Winnipeg Jets and Vegas Golden Knights each put history on their side by winning Game 1. Teams that take a 1-0 lead in a best-of-7 playoff series have an all-time series record of 458-209, a .686 winning percentage, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. That percentage is .755 321-104 when a team wins Game 1 at home. Asterisk. The Golden Knights became the first team in NHL history to win its playoff debut in its inaugural when facing a non-first-year team. The Toronto Arena's 1918, St. Louis Blues 1968 and Los Angeles Kings 1968 also won their first playoff games but did it against other first-year teams. Vegas also joined the 1927 New York Rangers and the 1968 Blues as the only first-year teams that won their first playoff game with a shutout. Asterisk. Penguins goaltender Matt Murray, who made 24 saves in a 7-0 victory against the Flyers, has shutouts in each of his past 3 playoff games. He shut out the Nashville Predators in Games 5 and 6 of the 2017 Stanley Cup Final. Murray is the 9th goaltender in NHL history to have 3 straight playoff shutouts and the first since Ilya Bryzgalov with the Anaheim Ducks in 2006. Murray joins Terry Sawchuk 1952 and 1953 Detroit Red Wings as the only goaltenders to do it across multiple postseasons. No goaltender has ever had 4 consecutive shutouts. Murray will try to become the first when the Penguins host the Flyers in Game 2 on Friday 7 p.m. Eastern Time. NBCSN, CBC, TVAS, ATTSNPT, *. Pittsburgh center Sidney Crosby made some history of his own. Crosby joined Mario Lemieux and Kevin Stevens as the 3rd player in Penguins history to have a natural hat-trick and became the 5th in NHL history to do it in his team's playoff opener. The others, defenseman Dick Redmond and center Pitt Martin of the Chicago Blackhawks in Game 1 of the 1983 quarterfinals, Wayne Gretzky of the Edmonton Oilers and Peter Stastny of the Quebec Nordiques in Game 1 of their respective division semifinals in 1983. * Jets forward Patrick Lane 19 years, 357 days and Wild forward Matt Cullen 41 years, 160 days each scored Winnipeg's 3-2 win in Game 1. That's the largest age discrepancy between 2 players to score in the same playoff game since Game 2 of the 2010 Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Buffalo Sabres defenseman Tyler Myers 20 years, 75 days and Boston Bruins Mark Recchi 42 years, 75 days were exactly 22 years apart when they scored in Boston's 5-3 win. But the largest such age discrepancy goes back to 1980, when Hartford Whalers teammates Ray Neufeld 20 years, 360 days and Gordie Howe 52 years, 9 days each had a goal in an 8-4 loss to the Montreal Canadiens in Game 2 of their preliminary round series. They were 31 years and 14 days apart. About last night, here's a look at the 3 Game 1s played on Wednesday. Vegas Golden Knights 1, Los Angeles Kings 0. The first Stanley Cup playoff game in Las Vegas was a memorable one with Marc-Andre Fleury making 30 saves for his 11th NHL shutout. Shea Theodore's goal 3:23 into the first period held up for Vegas. Pittsburgh Penguins 7, Philadelphia Flyers 0, Sidney Crosby scored a natural hat-trick, and the two-time defending champions got rolling toward their third title with the rout of their intrastate rival. Goalie Matt Murray made 24 saves for his third straight shutout in the playoffs, dating back to Games 6 and 7 of last Stanley Cup final. Winnipeg Jets 3, Minnesota Wild 2. The Jets got third-period goals from Patrick Lane and Joe Morrow, his first game winner in the NHL, to rally for the first playoff win in franchise history. It was the first playoff goals for Lane and Morrow. Goalie Connor Hellebuyck made 18 saves for his first playoff win.